We are reliably informed that this question has been resolved, so we'll go to B on question, which is on page 3. Delayed implementation of projects. You may proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Before I proceed with your indulgence, Chair, I would like to submit an addendum to our appendix. There are a few missing correspondences that we have now. I want to attach them to the appendices earlier circulated.
That's fine.
And additionally, we would like to just draw you to the main report, and on page 30.
Page 30.
Page 30, instead of the word appendices, it's supposed to be cross-cutting issues. Basically introducing the cross-cutting issues. There's appendices written there on page 30, but it's supposed to be cross-cutting issues.
Okay.
Then page 50, page 64, 66, and 70, you will notice that they are blank. It was because of the PDF document we used to print the reports. We apologize for those 4 blank pages.
That is from page 66.
Page 50, page 64, page 66, and page 70.
This is the one that I've just submitted.
Oh, the one that I have submitted is speaking to the appendices.
Correct. Okay.
Yes, Chair.
All right, thank you. That's all?
Yes, Chair. Thank you very much.
Please proceed.
I'll proceed to delayed implementation of projects, starting on page 3. The management response is on page 4. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wishes to state that at the time of audit, RIA was yet to carry out and produce a comprehensive assessment report detailing the full scope of the work and cost estimates. Action taken. Management wishes to state that RIA carried out the assessment and it was revealed that the cost estimate amounted to 3.2 million kwacha, which was above the available funds of 2 million kwacha. Management submitted an application to CDFC to consider supplementary funds in the year 2025. The procurement process has since commenced and the tender has been advertised on EGP. You may refer to Appendix 2 for the EGP tender float extract, communication from RIA, and minute extracts from the CDFC meeting. Remedial measures. Management will endeavor to implement projects within the required time frame and improve on monitoring of projects to ensure quality works. Move on to item C, delayed completion, construction of deep tank at Siatembo. Page 5. Cause of query. Management would like to acknowledge the auditor's observation and wishes to state that this was due to the termination process of the contract for the initial contractor, whose contract was terminated as a result of poor workmanship. Further, the project was changed from a deep tank to a spray race, and additional funding was requested from CDFC. Action taken. Management would like to state that the council terminated the contract for Mindi Enterprises due to poor workmanship and delayed works. However, another contractor, namely Nkonka Contractors Limited, was engaged to construct a spray race, which has since been completed. Refer to Appendix 3 for pictures, completion certificate, payment vouchers, bank statement extract, ledger, termination letter, demand notice for 35,165 kwacha, advance payment, the new contract, and the minute extract for the change of projects. Remedial measure on page 6. Management has intensified project monitoring and supervision. Furthermore, management has initiated a strategy of appointing an engineer for each and every project as manager. Refer to Appendix 3 for the sample of the appointment letter to the engineers. Item D, delayed completion of staff house at Siasikabole Primary School. Page 7, cause of query. Management would like to acknowledge the auditor's findings and wishes to state that the reasons for the delay was that the project needed adjustments to the scope of works, which included provision of electricity, provision of larger windows, and inclusion of the verandas for the kitchen and living room. The approval process for additional works from the CDFC committee and PLGO needed to be done. Action taken. The CDFC committee under CHOMA Central constituency approved additional funds amounting to 98,000 kwacha for the additional works. The contractor has since completed the project. Refer to Appendix 4 for the payment voucher, the ledger, bank statement extract, completion certificates, CDFC minute extract, and pictures. Remedial measure. Management has intensified project monitoring and supervision. Furthermore, management has initiated a strategy of appointing an engineer for each and every project as manager. Refer to Appendix 4 for the sample letter. Item E, delayed completion of a 1x3 classroom block at Sichikwenkwe Community School. On page 8, cause of query. Management would like to acknowledge the observation made by the auditors and wishes to state that the delayed works were due to the termination process for the initial contract under RICTRO Civil Engineering, which was due to site abandonment. Action taken. Following the termination and retendering process, the Council awarded Zamtrek Investment Limited, who has since constructed up to roof level. Refer to Appendix 5 for the progress report, the ledger, the new contract, termination letter, demand notice to pay back the money paid, the 105,000, pictures, and procurement committee minutes for the termination of the contract. Remedial measure chair. Management has intensified project monitoring and supervision. Furthermore, management has initiated a strategy of appointing an engineer for each and every project as manager to ensure quality works and real-time correction of any defects and poor workmanship during implementation. F. Poor workmanship, rehabilitation of staff houses at Nagempa Rural Health Post. Page 9, cause of query. Management would like to acknowledge the observation made by the auditors and wishes to state that the defects on the executed works were observed by council engineers during a routine monitoring exercise, and the contractor was engaged to rectify the defects. However, the defects had not yet been attended to at the time of audit. Action taken. Management wishes to report that the contractor mobilized back to site and all the defects were rectified according to instructions since the project was still within the defect liability period. The contractor has since corrected the defects. Refer to Appendix 6 for pictures and completion certificates. Remedial measure on page 10. Management has intensified project monitoring and supervision. Furthermore, management has initiated a strategy of appointing an engineer for each and every project as manager to ensure quality works and real-time correction of any defects and poor workmanship during implementation. G. Poor workmanship, completion of 1x3 classroom block at Kamunza Primary School. Cause of query on page 11. Management would like to acknowledge the observations and wishes to state that during the defects liability period, defects were identified and instructions given to the contractor to remedy the defects, which was not attended to at the time of audit. Action taken. Management would like to state that the contractor was instructed to work on the highlighted defects. Regrettably, he failed to work on the defects. Therefore, management used the 5% retention to rectify the defects, and the project has been completed and handed over to the school as indicated in the pictorial evidence. Refer to Appendix 7 for pictures, ledger, payment vouchers, bank statement extracts, and completion certificates. Remedial measure. Management has intensified project monitoring and supervision to ensure quality works and real-time correction of any defects and poor workmanship during implementation. H. Delayed construction of road at Kalalasaka Namuswa Primary School. Page 12, cause of query. Management would like to acknowledge the observations made by the auditors. Management wishes to state that the project was implemented using force accounts and that the delay to implement the project was due to the breakdown of the grader under CHOMA Central constituency, which required an overhaul of the engine and had not been repaired by the time of audit. Action taken. We wish to state that stamping was done using local community members, and the grader which had been procured under Mbabala constituency was used to carry out roadworks, and the Kalalasaka Namuswa road was graded to completion. Refer to Appendix 8 for pictures, ledger, BOQ, payment vouchers, and bank statement extracts. Remedial measures. Management will ensure plant and equipment are constantly maintained to minimize breakdowns. Further, CHOMA Central CDFC has approved purchase of a new motor grader to improve on the roadworks. I. Poor workmanship, completion of 1x3 classroom block at Masuku Mine Primary School. Page 13, cause of query. Management would like to acknowledge the observations made by the auditors, and we wish to state that the defects were observed during the defects liability period, and instructions were given to the contractor to remedy the defects which were not rectified at the time of audit. Action taken. Management would like to state that the contractor managed to rectify the defects owing to the fact that the contract was within the defect liability period and the structure has been completed. Refer to Appendix 9 for pictures, letter to the contractor, and completion certificate. Remedial measure. Management has intensified the project monitoring and supervision to ensure quality works and correction of any defects and poor workmanship during implementation. J. Construction of 1x3 classroom block at Mapona East, Lugwasho Zone. Cause of query. Management would like to acknowledge the observations made by the auditors and wish to state that the delay was due to the subsequent retendering process to acquire a new contractor to complete outstanding works following the termination of the earlier contractor. A new contractor had not yet been awarded at the time of audit. Action taken on page 15. Management wishes to report that a new contract was awarded to Maso Construction and General Dealers at a contract amount of 353,080 kwacha, 39 ingwe, to complete outstanding works indicated. The contractor has since completed the project successfully and handed over to the school. Refer to Appendix 10 for pictures, completion certificate, payment vouchers, ledger, bank statement, and extract and the contract. Remedial measure. Management has intensified project monitoring and supervision to ensure quality works and correction of any defects and poor workmanship during implementation. K. Delayed completion of installation of a blown-off roof on Staff House, Singani East Primary School. Cause of query. Management would like to acknowledge the observation made by the auditors and wish to state that the delay was due to the subsequent retendering process to acquire a new contractor to complete the outstanding works following the termination of the earlier contract. A new contractor had not yet been awarded at the time of audit. Action taken. Management wishes to report that the contract was awarded to Max Tinta Limited to complete outstanding works. The new contractor has completed the works. Refer to Appendix 11 for pictures, payment vouchers, bank statement, extracts, certificates, termination, and new contract. Remedial measure. Management has intensified project monitoring and supervision to ensure quality works and correction of any defects and poor workmanship during implementation. 85.2 Mbabala constituency. A. Irregular withdrawal of cash. Cause of query. Management wishes to acknowledge the auditor's observation and regrets the action. We wish to state that the payment of cash to officers as at the time of audit was due to council's accounts not being activated on the online platform. Action taken. Management wishes to report that the online platform has since been activated and the use of cash has since been discontinued. Refer to Appendix 12 for online platform placement forms and bank confirmation. Remedial measures. Management will always ensure that they adhere to the provisions and guidelines provided in the Treasury and Finance Management Circular Number 1 of 2022, which states that no cash shall be withdrawn for payment of subsistence allowances, fuel refunds, and any other allowances, as these should be paid directly into the beneficiary's account. B. Questionable procurement of cameras. Cause of query. Management wishes to acknowledge the auditor's observation and wishes to state that The component media storage device inserted in the camera was from the Council General Storage, such that at the time of audit, it contained images from General Council operations. Further, the quotations that were altered erroneously by the supplier in ink to include the third camera and countersigned. In addition, the delivery documents were regrettably not availed at the time of audit and the vouchers not fully signed. Action taken. Management wishes to state that a storage device specifically meant for CDF programs, or rather operations, was inserted in the camera. Further, the delivery note has been secured with a payment voucher fully signed. Refer to Appendix 13 for the delivery note, signed payment voucher with all supporting documents and quotations. Remedial measures. Management will ensure that the cameras bought under CDF will be used only for CDF activities. Management will ensure that suppliers quote for the right quantities, amounts, and items requested by end users. On the delivery note, management will ensure that all relevant documents pertaining to procurement are attached and presented to auditors at the time of audit. Management will ensure that all payment vouchers are fully signed. C. Poor workmanship, completion of Maluma Primary School. Cause of query. Management would like to acknowledge the observations made by the auditors. The defects developed during the defects liability period and instructions were given to the contractor to remedy cracks, but unfortunately were not rectified at the time of audit. Action taken. Management would like to state that the contractor was instructed to reduce specific sections of the structure and repair cracks that had developed during the retention period. We wish to indicate that the contractor failed to rectify the defects. Management used the 5% retention to rectify the defects, and the project has been completed and handed over to the school. Refer to Appendix 14 for the completion certificate, the ledger, payment voucher, and bank statement extract, instruction letter to the contractor, and pictures. Remedial measure. Management has intensified project monitoring and supervision to ensure quality works and correction of any defects and poor workmanship during the implementation process. D. Poor workmanship, construction of staff house at Abe O'Neill Community School. Cause of query. Management would like to acknowledge that the observations made by the auditors. The defects highlighted on the floor were as a result of improper curing and lack of expansion joints to the structure. Failure to paint the flush doors was an oversight on the part of the contractor. Action taken. Management would like to state that the contractor who was working on the staff house was instructed to redo the works and repair defects which developed. We wish to indicate that the contractor managed to mobilize back to site and rectified the defects. The project has since been completed. Refer to Appendix 15 for instruction letters, completion certificate, and pictures. Remedial measure. Management has intensified project monitoring and supervision to ensure quality works and correction of any defects and poor workmanship during implementation of projects. Poor workmanship, construction of 1x2 classroom block at Dambilo Community School. Cause of query. Management would like to acknowledge the observations made by the auditors. The defects highlighted were as a result of improper curing and failure on the part of the contractor to properly use his tools to construct proper expansion joints. Action taken. Management would like to state that the contractor was instructed to work on the identified defects. However, he failed. Therefore, management used the 5% retention to recast the floor, to seal the leakages, and to mend the cracks that were caused by the lift channels. The project has since been completed. Refer to Appendix 16 for instruction letters, completion certificate, ledger, bank extracts, payment vouchers, and pictures. Remedial measure. Management has intensified project monitoring and supervision to ensure quality works and correction of any defects and poor workmanship during implementation of projects. F. Poor workmanship, construction of staff house at Lupata Staff House. Cause of query. Management would like to acknowledge that the observations made by the auditors Management would like to acknowledge the observations made by the auditors. The defects highlighted were as a result of improper curing, lack of expansion joints on the floor, and insufficient tying wire on the roof structure. Action taken. Management would like to state that the contractor was instructed to work on the identified defects. We wish to indicate that using 5% retention funds from the contract, we engaged local bricklayers who managed to rectify the defects, and the project has since been handed over to the school. Refer to Appendix 17 for instruction letters, bank statement, extracts, payment vouchers, ledger, completion certificates, and picture. Remedial measure. Management has intensified project monitoring and supervision to ensure quality works and correction of any defects and poor workmanship during implementation of projects. G. Poor workmanship. Construction of staff house at Mangunza Clinic. Cause of query. Management would like to acknowledge the observations made by the auditors. The defects highlighted were as a result of improper curing and lack of expansion joints to the structure. Action taken. Management would like to state that the contractor was instructed to work on the identified defects. We wish to indicate that using retention funds, we engaged local bricklayers who managed to rectify the defects, and the project has since been handed over to the school. Refer to Appendix 18 for engagement letters, pictures, ledger, bank statement, extract, payment vouchers, contract, and completion certificate. Remedial measure. Management has intensified project monitoring and supervision to ensure quality works and correction of any defects and poor workmanship during implementation of projects. H. Drilling of 6 boreholes in Lupata, Malimba, Nemfwe, Sikubomba B, Simunzele B, and Mukofu communities. Cause of query. Management would like to acknowledge the observations made by the auditors. The handle which was the contractor who was handling, pardon me, let me read that again. The handle which was eroding at Nembwe Borehole was caused by incorrect alignment and the head assembly, whereas the leakages which were observed at Sikubomba were caused by worn-off rubber seals which were replaced every 6 months, The delay to complete the project was due to the termination process of the contract for the contractor who could not complete the drilling of boreholes due to dry boreholes that he had done. Action taken. Management would like to state that the 4 boreholes out of the 6 were drilled successfully. The head assembly was replaced in a correct alignment by the contractor and new seals were installed. The remaining 2 boreholes were drilled, but the yield was below the recommended 0.5 liters per second. The remaining boreholes are being drilled using the newly procured drilling rig, and 1 borehole has already been drilled successfully, with only 1 being outstanding. The remaining borehole will be drilled once the engagement of the new operator is completed, as the initial operator resigned. Refer to Appendix 19 for status report, termination letter, pictures, ledger, bank statement extracts, and payment vouchers. Remedial measure. Management has intensified project monitoring and supervision to ensure quality works and correction of any defects and poor workmanship during implementation of projects. I. Poor workmanship, construction of a maternity wing at Kabanze Mayobo Rural Health Post. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the observation of the auditors. The defects were as a result of the occurrence of the disaster. Action taken. Management would like to state that it lobbied for funding from the CDFC under Mbabala constituency through the 2025 CDF allocation, and funding amounting to 120,000 was approved under the 5% disaster component to work on the blown-off roof. The tendering process for the project is currently underway. Refer to Appendix 20 for CDFC minute extracts, approval letter for extra funding, and the ledger. Remedial measure. Management will endeavor to respond to disasters as and when they happen in order to minimize the negative effects of such occurrences. J. Construction of a police post in Macha Police Station Ward. Cause of query. Management would like to acknowledge the observations made by the auditors. The delay to complete the project within the contractual period was due to litigation issues which arose in relation to the land where the police station is being constructed. The contractor had to demobilize until the matter was settled. Action taken. Management would like to clarify that the contract was not terminated, but that the contractor was instructed to halt the works to pave way for legal proceedings. Further, we would like to state that the Attorney General was engaged to intervene and that his office engaged all the parties involved and finally gave consent for management to proceed with the project. The contractor mobilized back to site. The police station has now been constructed up to roof level and the contractor is currently working on the finishes prior to completion. Refer to Appendix 21 for instruction letters, progress report, site repossession letter, ledger, bank statement, payment voucher, and the current pictures of the structure. Remedial measures. Management has intensified project monitoring and supervision to ensure quality works and correction of any defects and poor workmanship during the implementation of projects. Cross-cutting issues. Appendix 1, Budget Funding and Expenditure. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's finding and wishes to report that the retained funds 1,038,550 was retained for the insurance and chief's palaces for both Mbabala and Choma Central constituency. Further, the balance on the 2023 CDF funding against the expenditure relates to the 2023 CDF programs that were ongoing at the end of the year. Action taken. Management wishes to report that the reconciliation of the 2023 CDF performance assessments was undertaken and the results are as shown in the table on page 32 for both Mbabala and Choma Central constituency and Appendix 22 for bank statements. So page 32 has the reconciliation. Remedial measures on page 33. Management will always endeavor to spend funds as they are disbursed to the council according to the Treasury and Financial Management Act. Appendix 1.1, retained for chief's palaces. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's finding at the time of audit that the ministry withheld at source funds amounting to 922,849 kwacha for the construction of Chief Macha and Chief Choma's palaces for Mbabala and Choma Central constituency respectively. Action taken. Choma Municipal Council is the supervisor of the Chief Palace's construction as the funds are being funded directly from the ministry. Management has been conducting supervision and the project is at roof level and the contractor is doing the plastering and the finishes. See Appendix 23 for pictures. Remedial measures. Management will endeavor to continue to supervise and monitor projects being funded by the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. Appendix 2, total unspent funds. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wishes to report that the balance brought forward represent the CDF programs that were ongoing at the beginning of the year and the interest earned on the CDF main account and revolving account. The balance at the end of the year, which is hereby said to be unspent, represents CDF programs that were ongoing at the end of the year. Action taken. Management wishes to report that the reconciliation of the CDF performance was undertaken and the results are as indicated in the table on page 36 with the bank's statement in Appendix 22 speaking to the same. Page 37, remedial measures. Management will endeavor to ensure timely implementation of community projects, timely disbursement of empowerment grants and loans, and timely payment of skills and secondary school boarding bursaries. Appendix 2.1, unspent funds, community projects. Cause of query on page 38. Management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wishes to report that the balance on the 2023 CDF funding against expenditure relates to 2023 CDF community projects that were ongoing at the end of the year. Action taken. Management wishes to report that the reconciliation of the 2023 CDF community projects expenditure and the status of the 2023 CDF community projects was undertaken, and the results are shown in the tables below for CHOMA Central and Babala constituency. On page 39, it's basically a detail of the ongoing projects, 39 to goes all the way up to 44, page 44. Page 45, remedial measures. Management will endeavor to ensure timely implementation of community projects and timely disbursement of funds. Appendix 2.2, on page 46, unspent funds, empowerment grants. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wishes to report the balances on the 2023 CDF funding against expenditure relates to 2023 CDF programs that were ongoing at the end of the year. Action taken. Management wishes to report that the reconciliation of the 2023 CDF performance on empowerment grants was undertaken, and the results are as shown in the table on page 47, and bank statements, payment vouchers, and schedule of bounce back funds on page appendix 24. Remedial measures. Management will ensure that it communicates in detail the components of CDF loans and grants payment details to the auditors at the time of audit to avoid such misunderstanding. 2.3, unspent funds, empowerment grants. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's finding and wishes to report that the balance is on the 2023 CDF funding against expenditure relates to the 2023 programs that were ongoing at the end of the Chair. This query was basically repeated. It's the same as the previous one.
Yeah.
I'll move on to page 51. Appendix 2.4 on page 51, secondary boarding and skills development bursaries. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's finding and wishes to report that the balances on the 2023 CDF funding against expenditure relates to 2023 CDF skills and secondary boarding bursaries that were unspent at the end of the year. Action taken. Management wishes to report that the overexpenditure for CHOMA Central was due to the funds brought forward from the year 2022, and the under expenditure from Babala constituency was due to the low number of applications received from the constituency, as it is a rural constituency. Management wishes to report that the reconciliation of the 2023 CDF skills and secondary boarding bursaries that was undertaken, and the results are shown in the table on page 52. Remedial measures. Management will endeavor to ensure timely disbursement of funds for skills and secondary bursary. Appendix 2.5, unspent funds, administrative costs. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's finding and wishes to report that the balance on the 2023 CDF funding against expenditure relates to 2023 CDF programs that were ongoing at the end of the year. Action taken. Management wishes to report that the reconciliation of the 2023 CDF administration component was undertaken, and the results are shown in the table on page 54, and the details expenditure is shown in the attached ledgers in appendix 25. Remedial measures. Management will endeavor to ensure timely and proper disbursement of administrative funds. Appendix 3, 2022 community projects. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wishes to report that the balances that the delayed implementation of projects was due to unsuccessful bids reconsideration for cost estimates and inadequate technical capacity in the engineering department. Action taken. Management wishes to report that the outstanding projects have been completed and 3 are under implementation. Referred to the comprehensive status of 2022 community projects in Appendix 26. Remedial measures. Management will endeavor to ensure timely implementation of the CDF community projects. Appendix 4, 2023 community projects. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's finding and wishes to report that the delayed implementation of projects was due to unsuccessful bids, reconsideration for cost estimates, and inadequate technical capacity in the engineering department. Action taken. Management wishes to report that the majority of the outstanding projects have been completed and implemented, with only 4 outstanding that are currently under tendering stage. Refer to the status of the 2023 projects as indicated in the table below. And also the details are on page 57, giving a detailed status of the projects. 57, 58, 59, up to 62. Remedial measures. Management will endeavor to ensure timely implementation of the CDF community projects. Appendix 5, analysis of performance, youth, women, and community grants. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the observations of the auditor. The empowerment funds amounting to 9,377 kwacha and 30,075 kwacha were allocated for both CHOMA Central and Bawala constituency respectively. Action taken. Management would like to state that the balances were carried forward to benefit future beneficiaries and have since been allocated. Remedial measures. Management will endeavor to ensure timely disbursement of empowerment funds to benefit intended beneficiaries. Page 65. Appendix 8, performance analysis, soft loans. Management acknowledges the observations of the auditor. At the time of audit, a balance of 1,174,702 kwacha and 11,573,000 was not disbursed to beneficiaries. Action taken. Management would like to state that the empowerment funds have since been disbursed to the intended beneficiaries. Refer to Appendix 27 for the loan status and bank statement for the revolving account. Remedial measures. Management will ensure to timely disburse empowerment funds to the intended beneficiaries. Page 67, Appendix 9, failure to recover loans. Cause of query. Management wishes to acknowledge the observations of the auditors. At the time of audit, the repayments of CDF loans were standing at 176,406 kwacha and 101,215 kwacha for CHOMA Central and Bawala constituency respectively. Action taken. Management would like to state that the local authority issued demand notices to the loan beneficiaries for the repayment of their accrued balances. Refer to Appendix 27 for the loan statements, demand notices, and the loan status reports. Remedial measure. Management will endeavor to intensify follow-ups on the CDF loan beneficiaries to ensure timely repayments of the loan. Appendix 10, secondary boarding and skills development bursaries. Cause of query. Management wishes to acknowledge the findings of the auditors that at the time of audit, the number of graduates for skills and secondary school boarding beneficiaries were 673 and 80 for CHOMA Central constituency, and then 205 and 27 from Bawala constituency respectively. Action taken. Management would like to state that the approved pupils and students have various completion dates. Refer to Appendix 28 for results for students who have since completed their studies. Remedial measure. Management will endeavor to intensify communication with the schools to submit the lists for students and pupils that have since completed. Page 71, Chair. Misappropriation of grants. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the observations of the auditors and wishes to state that this was due to inability of the group to undertake the projects at the time of audit. Action taken. Management would like to state that the money has since been refunded by Nchembe Multi-Purpose Club to the Council's bank account. See Appendix 29 for the bank statement. Remedial measure. Management will endeavor to strengthen monitoring of all empowerment grants to avoid misappropriation of funds by the beneficiaries. I wish to assure the committee that all the remedial measures submitted shall be enhanced to improve on the accountability function in order to attain expected service delivery to the community. I submit for your consideration, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CHOMA Municipal Council. Honorable members, points of clarifications, queries. Dr. Manza.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Town Clerk, for such a lengthy presentation. And I may take the committee to page 4.
Let's go to page 4.
Page 4 is about the delayed implementation of. Actually, it starts from page 3. That is the that's the rural electrification program, where RIA was signed a contract with the Ministry of Local Government to electrify some areas, and there's a quotation from RIA on Appendix 2 that they were to do electrification. They provided cost estimates for CHOMA Town Council to advertise. You have since then advertised from 2023. You've just advertised now. My point of clarification that I want to seek is that according to RIA, Appendix 2, they are the beneficiary public facilities is Chief Joma and surrounding areas. The technology is by grid extension, and the total cost is 3,832,996 kwacha. Obviously, this is way above the 1 million kwacha budget, and CHOMA Town Council went to seek for funding from the CDF. They secured 1 million kwacha from 2025 budget, as evidenced on Appendix 2 through the minutes of the CDFC meeting. My question is, you have advertised. You have advertised this under EGP. It was 24th April 2025, just about 2 weeks, a few weeks ago. But the funds that you have ring-fenced for this project, which I confirmed in this submission, is 2 million kwacha, and yet the quotation from ARIA was 3.8. So now that the EGP is running, the project is running, up and running, what are your plans to secure the balance of the funding, which is 1.2 million kwacha?
Thank you. Town Clerk.
Thank you, Chair. With your indulgence, I will invite Director Engineering to give more detail because he's the one spearheading. Director.
Director Engineering.
Thank you so much, Chair. I wish to state that it's true the figure that has been provided by RIA is about 3.2. So you may wish to know that...
3.8?
I mean 2.8.
3.8?
I mean 3.8. Thanks so much for the correction. The circular we got from Ministry of Law Government is that each year we need to allocate 1 million kwacha through CDF to go towards the same function. So we've been accumulating these funds since 2022. So by the time the project will be implemented, we'll be able to raise the funds required to implement the project, Chair. Thank you.
Dr. Mwanza?
You have a circular to... Where is the circular that shows that each constituency should allocate 1 million kwacha every financial year towards RIA? I mean, you have provided just evidence to have secured through the CDFC for 2025 1 million kwacha.
Yes.
And this was 2023 CDF funding of 1 million kwacha. The 2024 is not, still more there will be that deficit if we count it to be 3 million kwacha, and the estimate is 3.8.
Thank you so much for that question again. So I may wish to state that from 2022, we've been securing that 1 million kwacha. So we had that 1 million kwacha under 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025. So we plan to have cumulative about 4 million kwacha over that period, and then that will be sufficient to sustain the project. Thank you, Chair.
So how much do you have now?
We have 3 million. So under 2025, we expect another 1 million to be deducted to make the 4 million kwacha.
Yes, Honorable Kojima.
Thank you, Chair. Here we don't tell stories, Chair. We wanted to see that guidance from the ministry, where you are guided to be reserving a 1 million from CDF. Where is it?
Director Engineering, do you have
And
the
Chair, as he answers
circular?
also, the 3 million that they have currently, does it include that 1 million which was deducted at source?
Director Engineering?
First of all, let me start by apologizing that we didn't attach a circular from the ministry. But I wish to state that every year we've been saving that 1 million kwacha allocated for RIA activities.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you give them time, are they able to show us that circular before we are done with them on this committee? I'm sure if it is in the office, I think they can call someone who can screenshot it.
Any comment from local government before we ask the Director Engineer?
Thank you, Chair. Maybe to the extent not to guide properly your committee, let me get in touch with the office so that we will be speaking to a document to that effect.
Thank you.
Yes.
Director Engineering, are you able to ask your office to send that to you whilst we are interacting here?
Maybe due to time, it may take a little bit of time to find the document, Chair. We apologize. Perhaps if we are given a bit of more time, we may need to, we may find the needed instructions.
We need that document for us to complete this question. We need that document.
Okay.
One more question.
Yes. Which one?
The 3 million that they have, does it include that 1 million? Because
Which was
initially when
that?
this guidance was given for rule execution, they deducted, the ministry deducted 1 million at source. So the 3 million that you are holding doesn't include that 1 million which was deducted at sources.
Director Engineering?
Thank you so much for the question. I think we may need to reconcile those figures. Perhaps I would ask maybe the town clerk to intervene.
Town clerk?
Thank you, Chair. Like Director has stated, reconciliation indeed is required. Finance would have to help us with the actual happenings at the bank in terms of the deductions and also what is sitting in the accounts.
Director Finance, do we have those records that every year there is 1 million set aside for RIA?
Chair, thank you a lot. Indeed, in 2022, we had a RIA activity. I think all councils received communication to reserve 1 million towards the RIA. But for the years that were proceeding from 2022, 2023, 2024, maybe I would love to maybe just learn from my colleagues. Maybe there was an issue of securing additional permission or some sort of way of reserving that money for that activity.
Okay, we hear you. Director for Engineering, town clerk, precisely, we need the resolution from the council that after getting this quotation, then it followed you submitting this quotation to CDFC or management for a resolution that actually we should be putting aside this money. And then at the end of the day, also the secure. Yes.
Chair, let me change the questioning. With your indulgence, allow me to interact with the Director of Finance. The 3 million that you have is what you reserve from 2022, 2023, and 2024. Is that correct?
You want to switch off your mic? If you got the response from the Director of Finance, Honorable Fajum, it doesn't seem. The information that has, maybe I would ask you when each one went there. The information that he gave is that in 2022, the ministry issued a circular that all the councils will have their 1 million deducted at source. But the preceding years, he needs more information. Maybe I would ask Town Clerk, when did you go to CHOMA?
Thank you, Chair. I went to CHOMA in 2020.
2020?
2020.
So you are part of management all these years, isn't it?
Yes, Chair.
Director Finance?
I went this year. I'm 4 months old, Chair. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. You need the reconciliation. And Director Engineering?
Thank you so much, Chair. As I indicated earlier on, we may need to reconcile on this matter. And
no, I'm asking when you went to...
Oh, when I went to
yes.
CHOMA. That was August 2023, Chair.
August 2023?
Yes.
Director Planning?
Thank you, Chair. I joined CHOMA Municipal Council in November 2022.
2022? Do you have the legal officer here?
No, Chair.
Why? What is the legal officer?
She had matters of court to attend to. Couldn't join us.
Oh, in court?
Yes, Chair.
Director Planning? Oh, yeah. Already spoken to you. And what's your position, sir?
Thank you, Chair. I was the Director of Finance. I went to CHOMA in 2022 June.
Oh, so you were there on this matter, isn't it?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, maybe you can help us.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, Chair, I need to tender apology. I think the submission, yes, the circular was there, but the actual allocation and deduction for this saving, it started in 2023.
2023?
Yes, that's where the 1 million was reserved. So initially, the actual, to go to that budget line, it has to cover for up to 2025.
Up to 20, so 2023, 2024, you seem to have even the resolution, isn't it? That empowered you to be deducting that. Do you have a resolution, management resolution or CDFC resolution?
Yeah, Chair, the resolution through the CDF's committee, it was done. I'm sure if we can get to the office, they can send that through the DP's office. They can send.
So what we want to hear from you are facts and confidently so, because you were in the office and you are in charge of the finances. You could see the monies, like you are putting it to us now. You could see the monies moving every year. It is 1 million. So you, before this thing started, you sought the authority from the CDFC, because this is CDF money. Once you get a quotation from RIA, then you say there is this management, or let's take it for ratification from CDFC. So don't say, when you submit to say, no, I'm sure, then it means you're not sure if there was authority, yet you are the one that received that. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Chair. My submission is the quotation from there came in December,
yes.
And that December, that's the time I was transferred. I was transferred in November, but the indication was we are allocating for community project. The 1 million to be deducted from the community project was initially submitted through the planning department to reserve that funds for the in line with the circular which was guided. So at the moment, for the analysis of the allocation of what has been spent under community, there is no funding which is sure that the reserve of that 1 million is still there, because when I had analyzed the analysis was in December.
You see, here you are contradicting each other on this submission. We are not getting the clear position. Director Engineering said we started in 2022. There is a circular. My colleague asked, Honorable Pavium, asked, is the one that was deducted there part of the 3 million that you are looking for? And according to him, it was going to run up to 2025, we are going to have 4 million. Now you are saying, actually, we started in 2023, deducting, meaning we had the initial one, which everyone knows, in 2022. Then in 2023, we agreed that from 2023 you'll be doing that. Town clerk. Oh, sorry. Maybe before you come, town clerk, an addition, Honorable Vajuma.
Chair, this matter looks simple, but it's not a simple matter. First, where is the 3 million? In whose account? Which account are you keeping the 3 million? Maybe we begin from there.
Yes.
I think we needed to get to the bottom of this.
All right. So that 1 million being deducted, you can switch off your mic.
The 3 million. I'm questioning now.
Yes.
What do they have? They've confirmed there were 3 million. In which account is it sitting?
Director Finance, do you have the 3 million? In which account is holding 3 million? Sorry, the former. Which account did you create to be keeping that money?
I think, Chair, maybe the best way handle this matter. In my own knowledge, Chair, the 3 million, as I was handing over, I think we didn't have that 3 million. That's why maybe as that time I left, maybe there's something which was set aside, because as I left the council in November. So maybe on this quotation is talking of December. So maybe
right.
they have one apportion.
Thank you very much. Let's get one thing clear here. You did not see it in your handover. Director Finance, did you receive anything in that line when you are taking over?
Chair, thank you a lot. In my handover,
No.
I was aware that in my handover, the 1 million from each constituency was there. So I think when I read the Chair, if I go to the action taken, it's telling a story here that there's a 2 million. If you read the action taken, it's saying
this is page 1. Oh,
this is page 4. Management wishes to state that RIA carried out an assessment and it was reviewed that the cost estimates amounted to 3.2, which was above the available fund of 2 million. So I think we have two constituencies in CHOMA. So if you get the 1 plus 1 million makes it 2 million, and that's the 2 million that was seated in my handover note, which is in my office. Then the additional fund, I believe, is what the director works has made as an application now to the 2025 CDF for additional funding. I think this is how I'm seeing this situation, Chair.
Okay, you can switch off your mic. Honorable Pavjuma.
Okay, Chair, we shift to what has been submitted on the action taken. Since the target of the 3.8 million, you want it from the two constituencies, and currently you are seated with the 2 million, which you don't know in the account where it is. Why do you want to end in 2025 to deduct when at the source there is a 2 million sitting for the two constituencies? Where are you going to get to take the extra 2 million that you will deduct in 2025? Because you are fully aware and you are preview to both the circulars, the one which we know all of us and the one which you have just seen yourselves alone.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chairperson. We want to indicate that there's only one circular which was issued to the effect that each constituency was to make a provision of the 1 million. So in the case of CHOMA, if you have that quotation of 3.8 or that amount you have stated, and you have the two constituencies which have given you the 2 million as at now, any additional money, those will be monies that your CDFC committees will have to sit and by discretion agree whether to approve any additional money. So the standing is that the circular guides each constituency to set aside 1 million. And if you are to do that connectivity, because you have two constituencies, then you have to agree with the two CDFC committee, so that is a joint undertaken project. I submit, Chair.
Town Clerk.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to speak to the question of the circular. We have a soft copy of the CDF guidelines for 2022, where we were guided under point number 5, provision of electricity. If I can be allowed to read what it says.
No, I think that's the same.
The clarification.
Just
the 1
speak
million.
about it.
Yes. So from the analysis, as my colleagues have stated, we have a 2 million secured, and therefore we sought the extra 2 million from the CDFC as evidenced by our submission.
Now, whilst you are there, Town Clerk, we have no dispute. We are not contending on you agreeing. But what we are asking now is the authority to be doing what you are doing, to be deducting. And secondly, they are asking in which account is that money sitting?
Thank you, Chair. The authority was sought from the CDFC committee, and as for the account, I think Director of Finance can guide.
No. You have not finished submitting a Town Clerk. The authority was sought under minutes. You have the minutes where you sought that.
Yes, Chair. It is in Appendix 2.
Appendix?
Appendix 2.
2.
The extract for the CDFC meeting where the matter was discussed is in Appendix 2.
Appendix 2? Oh, it's there. You have seen it. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Yes. On a new question.
It's not a new, Chair. This is finance.
Yes.
From the submission from local government, we have come to know that there was only one circular.
Yes.
The second circular is not there. Is your witness still insist that they do have that circular and they'll submit? Or do you wish to retract that? Because at the end of the day, we're expected to do a report, evidence-based report. So do you still say you have that circular?
Director Engineering.
I wish to retract that submission, Chair.
Thank you. But we want to direct the auditors to just go and have a review of the same, see how many years these people are deducting monies, how many years starting when up to when, and if what is being deducted is part, I mean the money deducted at source is part of what they are deducting. Let's move to another question. Honorable.
Maybe, Chair, just to set the matter straight, the RIA funds are not deducted at source. The RIA funds are indeed in our accounts. It was not a command to deduct at source. We have the 2 million.
All right, but our question, area question from him, is that since this is to do with electricity, including the one that is there, his question, Honorable Pavjuma, was, are you adding that one or that one is separate?
Chair, like I have mentioned, let me reiterate, RIA was never a deduction at source. The deductions at source were vehicles and other equipment. When it comes to RIA, we never had a deduction at source. And as the question is coming from the Honorable, those funds, the 2 million, 1 million from which constituency are there, we have already now secured the additional funds, which once the EGP flotation is done, these funds are seated in CHOMA Municipal Council, should be able to pay the contractors. The money is not at the ministry. Thank you, Lord Chair.
What was the response? What was the submission from the ministry? Ministry, did you deduct the 1 million from each constituency?
Chair, we didn't. What the circular guided is that each constituency needed to make that provision, and that circular became effective in 2023. So meaning each constituency has that 1 million. And in the event that the costings are above that 1 million, then those are localized decisions to seek authorization for additional funds.
Okay.
So if CHOMA, you have the 2 million, which is 1 million from each constituency, and you are making those arrangements for additional, being a community project, you could just be advised to timely undertake that project. I submit to you.
Honorable Pavjuma.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, with your indulgence, local government should go back to the records. You know, here we are even questioning local government where that fund is sitting, which accounts with on the deducted. It's very clear. Every member of parliament, they are questioning where that money is and in which account local government is keeping it. So funds were deducted during that. It's not even questionable, local government. Funds were deducted. And we had this conversation, I think, 3 or 4 months ago, as members of parliament. We wanted to find out where that 1 million is sitting. So it's clear. So local government, get back to the documents. Thank you, Chair. That's what I wanted to say. Okay. And if they find that the funds were deducted, meaning CHOMA has got all the money, we don't need to go to 2025. They have to ask now the ministry to give them that fund so that they can implement.
So the other question, Town Clerk, is as you are indicating to us that 2 million is with you. If 2 million is with you, are you going to add, are you going to find the additional funds, or you still want to do it separately for RIA?
Thank you, Chair. I think we have already secured the money from CDFC, the additional, in addition to the 2 million that is already there. There's now the 2025 funding where funds have been allocated for the same.
Funds have been allocated?
That's the Appendix 2, the minutes for CDFC.
Funds have been allocated.
2025.
So what's the status now of that project?
The status is that the project has been floated on EGP, and once the tender it closes, then the contractor will be chosen, and then the project will commence, because we have the funds of 2 million currently.
When did you do that?
I'll draw you again to Appendix 2. Chair.
No, I mean, I know the authorities there. My colleague have confirmed.
Yes, Chair.
But when did you place it on EGP? Oh, this year. Eh? All right, we may take Dr. Mwanza.
We've been on this one for a long time, but just a clarification. CHOMA has 2 constituencies, Bavala and CHOMA Central. The 1 million kwacha allocation towards rural electrification, in this case, you are taking the funds from the 2 constituencies
to CHOMA Central.
To CHOMA Central. And going to do electrification at the chief, I think, CHOMA, yes. Whilst you have, through the CDFC committee of CHOMA Central, you have secured 1 million kwacha. It is in a record here. Why are you funding? Why are you using the funds from Bavala to fund an electricity? Is it a constituency project? Because I guess this site is belonging to a different constituency. So it must be dealt with within that CDF of that particular constituency. So the 2 million, you should count it to say you have 1 million for CHOMA Central and you have 1 million for Bavala. And Bavala will struggle for their own projects.
Yes. Thank you. Town Clerk, have you refunded Bavala? And in short, why do you want to use 1 million from Bavala? You want to use it in CHOMA Central. Why do you want to do that?
Chair, I will allow the socio-economic planner to shed more light on this matter.
Planner.
Thank you, Chair. Just to clarify on the matter of RIA, both constituencies allocated the 1 million, but the 1 million under discussion is only for CHOMA Central constituency, which was allocated in 2023 and also allocated in 2024, meaning the 2 million that is indicated in the response is only for CHOMA Central constituency, and we requested for additional funding only from CHOMA Central constituency, meaning the available funds for RIA stands at 3 million as at 2025. Thank you, Chair.
But there is a question that Director Finance failed to answer. The question was 2023 Director Engineering. Did you deduct the money, and where is that money? We are aware 2022 there is a 1 million. 2023, as you are alleging, we also deducted some money, making it 2 million. 2024, 3 million. And then this year, you have all the monies. So now the question was, where is this money? Is in your account, Director Engineer? Because he wasn't sure when he was. Do you have that money, sir?
Chair, I can confirm the funds are available. I actually signed on the availability of funds at the time of tender flotation. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a presentation. He confirmed that the 2 million is 1 million from Bavala and 1 million from CHOMA Central. And even referred us to the submission on page 3, where, submission on page 4, where they're saying management wishes to state that RIA carried out assessment and it was reviewed that the estimate around 3,200,000 and was above the available funds of 2 million. So he explained that the available funds of 2 million is an aggregate of Bavala and the CHOMA Central. But to us now she's saying each constituency have their own funding. So what do we take now in this case? This 2 million, is it from each constituency 1 million kwacha, or it is specifically for Choma Central? For which statement from the two of you should your committee take?
Director of Finance, Town Clerk.
Thank you, Chair. I think the clarification that this committee should take is that given by our socio-economic planner, being the actual technocrat in this area. The funds were gotten from only Choma Central. Hence, the project will be implemented in Choma Central. We therefore wish to retract the statement from Director of Finance, which included Babala constituency, Chair.
Thank you. Town Clerk, when I look at your report, 3/4 of the projects is poor workmanship. 3/4. And I look at Choma, the geographical location, how Choma is sitting. You do not have challenges like in other constituencies where maybe there are hills, maybe the terrain is very bad. What has been the problem in monitoring? Why were we letting the contractors to be doing whatever they want to do? All the cracks that you have seen there, if this is not wasteful expenditure, then what is it? Under Choma Central constituency. Cracks, poor workmanship, and even when you are presenting a report like that, you must be feeling very bad. Because the government's intention is to make sure that our people receive the services from these projects. We are supposed to deliver service. So when we do, we say we have called the contractor to rectify the defects, we have called the contractor to do this. Where are we putting the people that are supposed to be using those particular infrastructures? Why is it like that? How is your monitoring programs?
Thank you, Chair. Indeed, it is regrettable that we had all these defects in the projects. I would, if I can draw attention to our remedial measure, we have intensified project monitoring and supervision, and also we have attached an engineer to each and every project. I must admit that the challenge at that time in 2023 was that we only had one civil engineer. But now we have received additional staff in the engineering department. We have a total of 4 civil engineers. Hence our stance to attach an engineer for each and every project to ensure that we monitor projects on time and attend to whatever is emerging in real time. Chair.
Your remedial, your response or the remedy that you are putting to say no, you are now intensifying, that is immaterial. It doesn't hold, really, because every year you receive the funds. Each office is supposed to do its part. Why should we wait after we have seen this? That's when we start running around. That's when we now intensify our monitoring, strategies. It was not supposed to be like that in the first place. It wasn't supposed to be like that. When a project is starting, the director is there, director engineer. If you have 10 projects, he knows that today I'll go and inspect 3 of them, this side. The other day, that's what I'm saying, the terrain in Choma actually allows you to go through the projects, even in a day. You go there, you see the mixture, you see how they are doing, but it's like we let things go. And when we discover now there are cracks everywhere, then we say now, we are now intensifying. Is that the proper way of doing things? You allow the kid to jump into the fire, and then now I've now started, I rush or I stand by the fire so that after, but you knew. I thought I should just make that comment. I didn't feel good on this because all these projects, people are supposed to receive service. Honorable Perfume.
Just an additional to that, Chairman. I think the poor workmanship is confirmed on page 8, 10, 12, 18, 20, 21, 22, 24, and 27. And in Town Clerk's response, Chair, she has said she's trying to tell us that they were understaffed, and because they were understaffed, they had no enough engineers. They were not assigning project managers to all the projects. My first question, why should we implement or allow a contractor to go around without it? Because even when you are understaffed, you can plan for periodic checks to avoid this poor workmanship and the cracking. So meaning all your projects have been going without knowing what is the mixture of the concrete, what is the mixture of the plastering. So with such laissez-faire attitude, the chairman, so CHOMA Municipal Council, since the government was giving CDF, they want it to be a game changer. So can you demonstrate before this committee, and the people of CHOMA, I'm sure they are following you, how CDF will be a game changer in CHOMA? Thank you very much, Chair.
Town Clerk, how is it going to be called a game changer in CHOMA? If you're on page 8, rehabilitation staff house, poor workmanship, just on page 8, just rehabilitating, somebody fails. Wakwetu. Is our money safe? Rehabilitation. Just go and rehabilitate, not starting, just rehabilitation. There is poor workmanship. You are giving us a lot of work, Town Clerk, and you are giving auditors a lot of work. Imagine auditors didn't go through all these projects. We're going to record a disaster. It should not be like that. Honorable Procurement.
New question, Chair.
Yes, please.
With your indulgence, I take the committee to page 51.
51?
Yes, Appendix 2.4. Secondary boarding and the skills development bursaries.
Witness, let's go to 51.
The table exhibited here, Chair, is showing us that on spent for CHOMA Central, it was -3. For Mbabala, 41% funds were not spent. And on the cause of query, Chair, they are telling us that management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wishes to report that the balances on the 2023 CDF funding against the expenditure relates to 2023 CDF skills and secondary boarding bursaries that were unspent at the end of the year. Action taken, they are saying management wishes to report that the over expenditure for CHOMA was due to the funds brought forward from the year 2022, and the under expenditure from Mbabala constituency was due to the low number of applicants received from the constituency, as it is a rural constituency. Management wishes to report that the consideration of the 2023 CDF skills and secondary development bursaries that was undertaken, and the results as shown in the table below. So, Chair, here they've shown us 2 tables where the balances now are at 0, meaning they've spent all the funds. And on the remedial measures, they are saying management will endeavor to ensure timely disbursement of funds for skills and secondary bursary. And there is no exhibit, Chair, on this expenditure. So, Town Clerk and your team, we are here to scrutinize public expenditure. Where are the payment vouchers? Where are the bank statements? Where is the student headcount register that indicates that you had paid these funds? Because you have not shown us where you have taken the money. Where is the money? Show this committee where the money is. Thank you, Chair.
Town Clerk, Director Planning. Director Planning, do we have the registers on the institutions?
Thank you, Chair. Unfortunately, we do not have the registers, but the bank statement is available on Appendix 22 to verify all the payments that were done. So Appendix 22 is
which one is that? Oh, this one.
Yes.
Why didn't you direct us to that evidence on your question, the way you've been doing?
Appendix 22. There is nothing. There is nothing. The 22, there is nothing. Unless in another document.
Chair, with your indulgence, we do have the statement that can speak to that. It's just regrettable that we didn't draw attention to it. It's a very big document. We can bring it in so that it can be scrutinized by the committee. With your indulgence, Chair.
Come again?
I'm saying that the bank statement is available. Only that I think it's regrettable that it wasn't brought to you as chair, because it's a big document. We only managed to do one bound document that the members could look through.
So where is that one?
Okay, it can be brought in a short while.
It's in the car. I'm saying, is it in the vehicle?
Yes, Chair, it is.
Okay, somebody can pick it up on the range.
Chair, before they go
You
to
continue.
pick, maybe bank statement alone will not answer this question. There are some documents that inform that transfer. We wanted to see those documents because the procedure on skills development and secondary boarding, Chair, when head count is done, there's a quotation from the institutions. So let that thing be accompanied with a statement from the institutions and the head count which was done. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So which other document do you have in relation to this one?
Chair, thank you. We only have the bank statement available for scrutiny this morning.
But do you have those other registers at the office?
I'll allow Director Planning, Socio-Economic Planner to confirm on the registers.
Social planner.
Thank you, Chair. The documents are available at the office, the payment vouchers as well as the student verification list.
Okay. Who need those? You need to send those through Secretariat. Another question, honourable members? Yes, honourable man.
Okay.
Yes.
Chair, we were discussing community projects, so I did not have the chance to echo my sentiments concerning the performance of community projects. What I've observed in both constituencies, community projects, contractors would be given, would be awarded a project, they get the advance payment, and they abandon the works. I have more than 5 projects that are explaining this situation. Just a sample, page 7.
Page 7. Let's go to page 7, witness.
Page 7, delayed the completion of 1x3 classroom block at Sichikwekwe Community School. So this project is awarded at 820,000 kwacha for 18th January 2023 and 18th April 2023. As at 30th of August 2024, that is close to 1 year after the end of the completion period, the contractor was paid 205,000 kwacha, which is basically 25% of the contract sum, which is an advance payment. And an advance payment is paid immediately that the contractor takes possession. But he got that 25% and it disappeared. Physical inspection by August 2024 reviewed that the project was at foundation stage. Foundation stage, that is 1 year after the completion period, the mandated completion period, which was 18th April 2023. But by August 2024, the project was at foundation stage, just dug trenches only. And the contractor got that 25% and abandoned the site, the project. The picture is on page 8. Wish it could have been a color picture. so that we see the type of foundation. But yeah, so this contract right now, Chair, of 2023 is, was terminated, and the CHOMA Municipal Council has written demanding notices to ask the contractor to pay back the advance payment. Another situation on page, the deep tank is on page 4. It's a similar story. For a deep tank of 140,000 kwacha 659, the project was supposed to complete by 27th August 2023. Contractor claimed for advance payment and was paid 35,165 kwacha, and it disappeared. 1 year later, auditors they've just found and even the planning department had to seek for change of order or change of scope of work, and is seeking more financing for the project. So this is not the only one. There's another project on the poor workmanship at Kamunza Primary School. So that behavior of getting advance payment, then there's no communication between the project manager and the contractor until the contract comes to an end, and the auditors go to find that there is no progress on the project. That is when letters are written and the demanding notices are written to follow the contractors to pay back the advance payment. What measures is CHOMA Town Council putting in place to make sure that this type of behavior, where contractors just get advance payment and disappear for more than 1 year? Look at this 1x3 classroom block, how it is suffering now. How it is suffering more than 16 months.
Town clerk, if that was, before you come in, if that was your house, you pay somebody and you let somebody to go away, or yourself, you don't go to check for 1 year plus. So it confirms what other people say, that because this is government money, you can do anything. This makes the government and His Excellency sad. This attitude makes him very sad. Look at the pupils that are supposed to be using that class. And then you have people that go for work. You have people that are getting paid for 1 year plus without doing anything. On the slab, just the foundation. What do you want us to say? And if government takes action on such individuals, on such local authorities, you claim or you rebel or you say the government is this government or the commissioner is unfair. The ministry is unfair. They give you the money. They give you administrative fund. They give you the fuel. They give you the vehicle. Just go and check that where you took the money. The person you paid is on site, is working. That is difficult. We are not supposed to be talking to professionals those words. No, I refuse. We can't be talking those words to professionals. Primary school kids, yes, we can be reminding them on what they are supposed to be doing. Not professionals. Not people that wake up every day and say we are going for work. For more than 12 months, they go and come back. They don't care about what happens beyond their office. Your response?
Thank you, Chair. I think from the onset, would like to say that it is indeed regrettable that this had to be the case with all our projects, and we really commit to do better. We could have done better than what we have presented this morning, Chair.
unacceptable, you know that. Honorable Mwanza is really...
Okay. Okay, that is on the weaknesses in terms of contract management. But now going to planning.
Yes.
All these projects before they are approved, the engineers will do cost estimate and advertise and now you advertise the project and award. At the construction stage, I'm talking about maybe like project, I'll give two examples. This deep tank on page 4.
Yes.
A deep tank chair was constructed after through struggling with a contractor and engaging another one. So you constructed deep tank, which reached almost 50% completion. Then you change the whole scope of work from a deep tank to a spray, they call it what? Spray race. Yes.
Yes.
So it is confirmed on page 5. The project was changed from a deep tank to a spray race, and additional funding was requested from the CDFC. A spray race would not have water reservoir, would not have some concrete steps, and yet this structure was constructed at least up to 50%. So you change the planning and seek for more funding to, yes, it will do the same function, but then what will you do to this project, the deep tank, that the contractor did up to 50%, and now you have constructed a spray race? That is planning. Then some house somewhere on page, I think 7, yes, page 7, the contractor once was paid 25%, it disappeared, and then he just left it at the foundation stage, and the new contractor is being procured now, but they are saying they changed the scope by adding some verandas to the living room, adding veranda to the kitchen. In the initial design, there was no veranda on the living room, and also no veranda on the kitchen, and also increased the size of windows, and then had to seek for funding, additional funding from the CDFC. This is a house that is whose superstructure was already constructed at roof level. Then a change order comes to say increase the size of windows. So I just want to ask the technical department, how did you increase the size of windows? Did you had now to demolish the wall because the length and the width has to change? And this decision came at a time when the house is already at roof level, and they had to seek additional funding from the CDFC, which were funded for this kind of changes. So, just from the planning point of view.
Thank you. Direct engineering. How did you change that, and what did you do when changing that? Did you bring down the structure, or whatever you are doing, chiseling?
Thank you so much, Chair. So the changes came about looking at, because initially the structure was started by the community. So through our inspections and monitoring, we discovered that with the community, it was discovered that the verandas were not there in the initial design. So the danger there was that the external doors were going to be affected and other things. And then the structure had very, very small windows. As I mentioned earlier, the structure was started by the community. So these changes were necessary to actually improve the status of the structure. And as we are speaking, the structure has been completed with those new changes, unlike what was started by the community. So those changes were necessary, Chair. Thank you.
CHOMA Town Council, I want to indicate to you that as a committee, you have a question. Yes, go ahead. Page 16.
Page 16, query number A,
Yes.
irregular withdrawal of cash. On the course of query, they are telling us that management wishes to acknowledge the author's observation and regrets the action, and wish to state that payment of cash offers as at time of audit was due to the council's account not being activated on the online platform. And on the action taken in the attendance, management wishes to report that the online platform has since been activated. Chair, this action, this irregular withdrawal, Chair, was done contrary to section 3.426 of the Ministry of Finance, Treasury, the Ministry of Finance, Treasury and Finance Management Circular, number 1 of 2022. Chair, my question to your witness is, being a preview to all the necessary laws and regulations, why do you intentionally choose to operate outside the confines of the law, when you know that even your position, your institution is an establishment of the law, and these laws and regulations are administrative controls put for you, being because of your nature as a human being? So these are the controls that are put there. Why should you choose to operate outside the law? What pushes you, or what do you hide behind irregularities? Thank you, Chair.
Council Secretary.
Thank you, Chair. As we have stated in our response, we regret the action and hence the measure to ensure that we adhere to the established laws. I submit, Chair.
Council Secretary, you know, this was a lot of money, 218,000. And that was withdrawn in a day? Or was it for one day?
I do believe it was not in one day, but Mr. Chipachat, former Director of Finance, can give more detail.
But when you look at, before he comes, when you look at Mbabala and CHOMA, how many kilometers? Is it 30 or 40 kilometers there? Less than 50 kilometers to get to the bank. Less than, about 30 kilometers away. Mbabala. Your colleagues yesterday, it was from Senga Hill to Mbala, about 78 kilometers. You would, to some extent, say, and you look at where they are coming from, actually, from that mission to where, but you, there, somebody will just go in within an hour or two, somebody will be back. Director, former Director of Finance, how did you allow this?
Thank you, Chair. This was not at once, but however, when you look at the trend, as you have mentioned, Chair, for Mbabala, there are monitoring which happened beyond within Mbabala. So the WDC had under stakeholders for them to, by that time, most of them didn't have account numbers. So for any participant to draw a check to come to our bank in the CBD and going back to do an activity within beyond
so it's not far beyond you are talking of Mangunza in Mapanza, you are talking of Chief Macha going down there, you are talking of Kavimba, you are talking of which other place, I mean where Mbaba, all those places are reachable within a day. We're acquainted with that constituency, so I know all those places. Because the furthest you are talking about, yes, would be in Mapanza, in Mangunza. From there you come to Macha, you go to Chief Macha, go down there to Munyeki. That is Dundumwezi. You come down, you come to Kavimba. You know? There are places that somebody would get a check and be in Choma and come back. More especially now that you have the vehicle. And the other thing that you are confirming is that you have not done that thing once. So you continue breaking the law. Even now you continue, even after appearing. So maybe you can continue. I just wanted to let you know that the places in Mbabara are very much reachable.
Thank you, Chair. The issue now, I think, is stopped. I think that is at that time, Chair. I submit.
It's Honorable Rajuma.
Thank you, Chair. As if that action is not enough, Chair, your witness also on 17th February 2023, on Query B now, page 17, they proceeded with the procurement of 3 cameras amounting to 29,985. And the Chair, the quotations were altered, and there was no authorization of alterations made on the documents from the responsible officer. There was no evidence of delivery when the auditors went there, and the payment voucher was not provided, was not approved by the principal officer before making that payment. And the Chair, on the cause of query, on the action taken, they are telling us that management wishes to state that storage device specifically meant for the CDFC operations were inserted in the camera. Further, delivery note has been secured with payment voucher fully signed. Chair, the first statement on the action taken on the device with its storage is out of question. It is not related to the question. It's just put it to divert our attentions. At the time of audit, the payment voucher was not fully signed and the payments were effected. So this payment voucher they are talking about now, which is fully signed, why should you sign a payment voucher after the payment has been effected? Because at the time of auditing, auditors saw a payment voucher which was not authorized by the principal officer, which is you, the town clerk. Why have you manufactured evidence for the purpose of appearing before this committee? That's my first question. They can respond before I bring them.
Town clerk.
Thank you, Chair. I'll allow Director of Finance to respond.
Former Director of Finance.
Thank you, Chair. I think when we go to the appendices, yes, at the time of audit, the principal was didn't sign this. It's that the principal was not in office, was standing in by the Director of Health, and it might be that I could say that, Chair, that at the time of made the payment, the auditor didn't pass through or was not checked in. But the circumstance which led this payment to go through, it was a directive that we need to take and blend of all the CDF through the public relations officer, that they have to document the project. So we looked at the time of the activity, that the TC can come and approve the voucher once he's back in the office, and which later on he came and approved the voucher, Chair. But the authority of the memo from the inception of the process was approved by the town clerk.
So you, which documents do you base your payment as Director of Finance?
The first, there is an initial request which normally comes, the memo which goes to the town clerk for the authority to procure anything. From there, there is also a requisition which is raised, and the order. It's from those bases now, that's why the payment is raised.
Did you see that on the invoice there was some alterations? You can help, madam. What's your position? This one. What's your position?
Thank you, Chair. So the
Your
initial...
Your position?
I'm Senior Procurement Officer for CHOMA Municipal Council.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. So the initial request for cameras had 3 cameras. Then at the time of collection of quotations, 3 quotations were collected, the supplying company being Fast Mobiles. Then the 2 supporting quotations from other suppliers had quoted for 2. So at the point of realization that they had underquoted the quantity, the quotations were taken back, and the suppliers changed the quantity from 2 to 3. But the original quotation for Mobile City Wire procured from had the correct quantities and the correct figures.
But at which point did we see these, the alterations, and how far is your office to Mobile City?
Mobile City is in Osaka. Fast Mobiles in Osaka.
Oh, Fast Mobile is
It's in Osaka, yes.
So it would not change, because these days somebody would just email the document and stuff like that.
So the original quotation what we bought from and the receipt and everything wasn't altered.
It wasn't altered?
No, it's a supporting quotation.
But did you explain that when the auditors came? Because we are looking at what you have submitted. You are from CHOMA Municipal Council, and this is what you have submitted. We are not talking about anything outside what you have submitted. You had an opportunity, you had an occasion where you would sit and be able to explain, so that the auditors would drop this particular narration according to you. Why didn't you bring it to their attention in that fashion? What happened? You sat with them. How long were you at? How long were they at your station, the auditors?
Chair, about 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So somebody would travel to Lusaka and come back, isn't it? So we have this query of auditor. Let me go back to the supplier. Come and pick that one. The same day you go back to CHOMA. It's just a document they prepared. You go back to CHOMA. But why did you allow it to reach in, where it is now in the Auditor General's report?
Actually, the audit process is long, more than 2 weeks.
So the auditors are indicating actually they take at times more than 2 weeks. So that's why it's a questionable. They say questionable, you know, because you people are unable to provide that simple explanation, like you are putting it in orally now. These are things that you can do. And the query is dropped. Honorable Pavjum.
Thank you, Chair.
I would like to conclude. Yes.
There are so many questions that arise on this matter, Chair. Firstly, on the document, on the quotation was fought, and no authorization of alteration was put. The local authority went ahead to sign the memo for payment. Again, when they generated the payment voucher, the payment was not sanctioned by the principal officer, but still they went ahead and paid. So maybe who is connected to this supplier for you to act outside or to be speedy? Who is connected to this supplier? Something should have been pushing them, Chair, to finish all the process with all these irregularities.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a question or answer, Chairman, but we need to know why such things are happening.
The question is the comfort that gives the finance department to go ahead and make the payment in the midst of all those things. It raises eyebrows and the suggestions, insinuations that maybe we are part of the supplier. Like I indicated, Town Clerk, in the first place, that I don't understand, because these things are things that you are able to do. These things are things that you're able to handle. These things are things that you're able to correct, even at inception. But I still want to go back to service delivery in CHOMA. And this is the reason as to why in CHOMA you find you are the parent local authority in the province. And if your performance is like this, what will be the performance of Zimba, Itesh? I know they're outside here. Namwara. If you, the parent local authority, your behavior is that you can give out money everywhere. More than 5, more than 8 projects, everything is poor workmanship. And you know, you should even be afraid to appear before a committee like this one. It should actually make you to be very, very uncomfortable to appear before a committee like this one. We will give out the money, a classroom block where others, I'm doing classroom blocks in Siavonga. There's one that we started, the contractor started last week. We'll have that, this is by July, that classroom block will be ready. 3 months, 4 months, you have the classroom 1 by 3. It will be ready. But you, over a year, there is a slab. How I wish your employers would take you, just have a walk on that. Just walk around. You know the implication of that attitude? The implication is that now you do what you like most as local authorities. I've been sitting on this committee for more than 3 years now. What you like most is to come and do the variations. You add more money. Unless you are adding to non-delivery of the service to the people, the communities that are supposed to enjoy the services, you still want to come now on the cost implication. Because the project was supposed to be done 2 years before or 3 years before. The cost implication, and you are very, very good in that. Director engineer will sit under a tree with the contractor. They will come up with a quotation. The director finance will just be signing. You don't feel anything. This is very bad, to say the least. This is very bad. No one would allow that at his farm or her farm. You can't do that. But in CHOMA, this is because it's for the bomber. We get affected because this is our money. This is government money. These are public funds. It's not right. We want to indicate to you, Town Clerk, that this, your report, doesn't meet the minimum acceptable standard. The CHOMA, the attitude towards work, towards duty, is very poor, to say the least. Very poor. And you have demonstrated. Director engineering, this is not right. You cannot attach a record like this one to your CV. You can't. You must be aware of that. You can't attach this CV to your file. It's not good. You're given an opportunity, each one of you, to demonstrate that you are able, even as you flash your documents, professor, whatever you have, very good qualifications, they should be translated in good work, improving, developing our country, developing our town, developing our communities. We want to appreciate your appearance, and we wish you well as you travel back to CHOMA. We want to urge you, Town Clerk, to put your house in order, to get every department up and running. We will not use the same words when you appear next year. We will not. That each one of you should be working with that. We will not use the same words. We will not. If we use the same words, then we are not doing anything. Then we are causing our communities to continue suffering. We will play a bit of Mingarato, if you have heard of Mingarato. We will do that. Immunity withdrawn. We wish you well as you travel back. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. There you have it. CHOMA Municipal Council have just appeared before the Committee on Local Government Accounts, and it was flanked by Ms. Rebecca Chirumba, who's the acting town clerk for CHOMA Municipal Council, as the committee continues to receive the report of the Auditor General, or rather to consider the report of the Auditor General on the Constituency Development Fund for the financial year ended 31st December 2023. And so we have 3 more witnesses to appear before the Committee on Local Government Accounts, and these are Gwembe Town Council, Itezitezi Town Council, and lastly for today we have Shuangando Town Council, who will be making a reappearance. And so we're standing by for Gwembe Town Council. I'm Claudette Sindaza Jonga, together with our 2 sign language interpreters, that's Chola Kauma and Jason Manda. So do stand by for Gwembe Town Council. Good afternoon.